Just give me a second. All right, YouTube is live. 1 second. Let me check YouTube. Yep, we are live on YouTube. All right. 1 second. Let me click the record as well. All right, we are live as on YouTube and recording has started. All right. Thanks, Premila, for getting online and sharing your knowledge on employee value proposition. It's been an honor for me actually working with you. I learned so much from you on this topic. So I leave the whole most of the thing for you, and the folks that are watching, if they have any question, they can just post it on the YouTube chat. I will read it for you. Carry on.
Okay. Sure, thanks, Chris. It's also been a pleasure working with you from the tech space in Techcombank, especially as we set up the Digital Transformation Office. So good afternoon, everyone. Our session this afternoon is around the employee value proposition topic in organizations. And I just want to take you through a journey of the different mandates I've had in my experience working with various organizations. And I would like to also stress that this journey continues with many organizations. Employee value proposition is not something that you do in a particular point of time and then that's it, is considered a project finish. It's a journey that you continue refreshing to meet your business requirements and more importantly to meet your employee and your business challenges. So with 23 years of experience working in the people space, the various EVP mandates that I've had across the different organizations around the people space has been how to be the best in class for that particular domain, how to upskill people so that they build careers with the organization, how to identify high potentials and groom them into leadership positions. And in the recent engagement with Techcombank in the last 2 years, it's how to build and set up the Digital Transformation Office to deliver on the bank's 5-year strategy for digital transformation. So in particular, I will share with you how we went about building the role architecture and capability of career transformers in the bank, as well as the attraction of talent to deliver on the bank's mandate. Get to the next slide. So employee value proposition is really about balancing and meeting the organization's aspirations in line with the employee needs, right? So as you set up your organizations, you have lots of aspirations around hiring and retaining the best talent, the most qualified talent. How do I get my talent to innovate and help me lead the organization, lead the industry? How do I get more for less because, you know, I have cost consideration and cost management factors to work with? How do I compensate for skills and experience, especially based on the qualifications and the talent that I want to hire? And more importantly, how can I build the future for my organization, whether I'm starting from ground zero or I'm scaling up? And on the employee side or the talent or the candidate side, they have very similar expectations and aspirations. If I were to join an organization, who will I work with and how can I learn from the qualified best? Will I be in a position where I can innovate and build solutions, products, and deliver on my imaginations? I would like to give more if I'm trusted and valued with my experience and my skills. So is this an organization that will allow me to deliver and give more and has my back? Am I rewarded for skills and experience competitively, fairly, and does it align with where I am in my journey in life? And more importantly, will the organization that I work with help me build my future as well, because I'm also on my journey to build my future. So EVP really is where organization aspirations and employee needs come together. So you see that interface that I have in the 2 circles, that part is really where you are aligned between organization and employees. Now, how big you get into that interface is where then you get to ensure that your people actually stay with you, right? So these are the questions that you need to consider when you want to scale up your business. If I can just take you through a few thought process, if you look at it from a human resource perspective or a talent development perspective or leadership engagement perspective, what the employee is looking for really is an opportunity for them to develop their careers, to engage with people who can actually help them on their professional and personal journey. Do they have the work environment and the tools to be able to deliver the responsibilities and the jobs? What is the value and the culture, the mission and the vision of the organization? Is it in line with my own culture, vision, mission, and core values? Compensation and benefits, what else can I enjoy with this organization beyond just the pay? And more importantly, what promises can this organization make for me today, for the next year, for the next 3 years, for the next 5 years, if I choose to stay with the organization? So as entrepreneurs, there are a number of questions you will need to ask yourself and find answers to as you attract and you retain your talent. Because in the recent years, when I started to interview and hire tech talent, they asked a lot of these questions, especially the millennials and the Z generation. And these questions were never the questions that came out in interviews in the past, but today candidates are asking, right? Who will be my manager? Is my manager equipped and capable of leading me on my professional journey? Will I have opportunities to network within and outside of the organization? Will I be given the space and the time to network? Do I have a personal learning budget to determine how I learn, because I know how I learn best? Can I chart my own career path? What is a career path like in this organization? And a lot of tech people who like to innovate and build. And do I have the environment where I can create, test, and fail until I get it right? How much of room and space do I have to innovate and build? And do I have to work within boundaries, or do I have green fields? How much of budget will I get to innovate and build? Our internal process in the organization designed to promote innovation, creativity. What tools will I receive to deliver on my responsibilities? And then, will I be compensated for skills and experience? How will I get rewarded? Or will I be just based on the revenues that the organization benefits from my contribution? What is the culture of the company? Why should I work for the company? Does my manager and my team have my back? Am I paid competitively? How will I be paid competitively? If I want to stay with the organization, what sort of ownership will I receive in return for my contributions, such as stock options? How will I be recognized for my contributions? How will my performance be assessed if there was a performance process in place? Will it motivate me to stretch my limits? And of course, in Vietnam, it's a fast-growing economy. There is every sense of urgency to be part of the journey and to ride the wave right now before it becomes too late. And you want to be able to also promote an entrepreneur environment so that people can build their own brands. And more importantly, employees of today want to make a difference in their lives and the lives of other people as well. So you see, the value proposition of organizations in the past and over the years have really progressed to go and, to progress, especially on a more personal level. So how then did we build the value proposition in Techcombank? And this is a good slide for those of you who also want to start setting up your own business or scaling up your business in the information technology space or for digital transformation. In case you're not familiar, there is a reference that we have used in Techcombank especially, and it's highly recommended for everyone who wants to manage their tech journey on an individual level, especially on a corporate level as well. The skills framework for the information age, SFIA. So how do we go about determining how do we want to set up the digital transformation office? So we needed to hire talent and give them clarity in what in the environment that they were going to work in Techcombank, for example. So we needed to build a role architecture. So in your organization, the questions that you will probably be asking as you set up your business, okay, what roles do I need to establish? How many levels of experience will I need to establish? What job titles can I offer to attract people to join my organization and grow with the organization? How do I develop the responsibilities for the various roles that I'm building in my company? And then once people are on board, how do I build a comprehensive skills library that demonstrates or is supported with specific proficiency levels? How can I assess the skills of my employees and how can I determine their training needs and gaps and support them to build their career with the organization? How can I benchmark compensation? How can I benchmark skill sets? How can I benchmark benefits? How can I hire and build talent in this competitive environment where everyone is fighting for tech talent at the same time? And of course, if I want to then invest in people, how can I, source for the platforms and providers to help me support? So the skills, the SIFA or Skills Framework for the Information Age, they have very prescriptive and with very specific details around the different roles in the IT space, the various levels of responsibilities. They prescribe a 7 level of responsibility. Now, whether an organization wants to adopt 7 levels of responsibility or scale it down to 3 levels, 5 levels as you build your business, the room is there for you to grow up to these levels of application and responsibility. And then on the organizational side, how do you differentiate between individual contributors who want to build a professional path, between those who want to move on into a management role, who is on my learning curve, and how can I, swap roles between various domains or what we call job families. Now, the graphics on the right of the screen, it's a little small, but it's very colorful, and it kind of breaks down all the various domains in the information age. So you have from information strategy right down to very specific levels of system development, to user experience, to installation, integration. And then the bars that you see shows basically the various levels of proficiency from the levels of responsibility from follow to assist, apply, enable. And I understand version 8.0 from SIFA is coming up in September. So there are tools and frameworks and very, very specific skill set, competencies, responsibilities out there with this SFIA framework that will allow you to actually build your business from ground zero if you had to do this on your own, and then scale it up to deliver on your business requirements and changing needs as well. So I'd like to stop here and take on questions.
So, Premila, let's say I am a CTO of a company that has around, like, let's say 100 developers, and we are going to hire, let's say 50, 60 more in the next few months. And basically, how do I start? Like, what are the things that I need to do to actually start building a EVP for my company?
So what you're looking at is workforce planning. So you want to scale up, and there must be a business need of why you want to scale up. Either the scope of the work has expanded, the level of complexity has expanded. So you may have started off at a assist and apply level, and then now you want to scale up. So by using this SFI framework, it gives you very specific reference to job families that you want to introduce in your organization, and very specific skill sets that you can then start to build a job profile and then start to use that for hiring needs. Now, in terms of other aspects of employee value proposition, you will need to also then look into onboarding. So once you have people on board, how would you, give them that experience to be able to grow? Do they have platforms to learn? How will they integrate with the rest of the teams? Do I have coaches in my teams to be able to welcome and help employees adapt to the environment that I'm scaling up? Do I have workplace environment tools. So, back to my earlier slide, Chris, where, there are many parameters around structure, processes, people, and technology, right? So these are all the components that you will need to look out for when you want to scale up your employee value proposition. But what you see here with the skills framework, it provides you the foundation to build that. First of all, giving clarity to people on what roles they can play in your organization. And then, of course, matching those up with your business direction. What exactly are you planning to achieve? And then how they can grow to help you with all of the skills and proficiency levels.
So if I want to start building, for example, let's say a career path, right, for my team members in the organization, how do I know exactly like what are the competencies each role need in different levels? How can I start to have build that?
Sure. So, every job family. So let's say, for example, I am in software engineering, right? So in software engineering, there are very specific domains again. And then it tells you a skills framework like this tells you, okay, if you're at the application level, this is what you will do, or this is what you expect to do. And then if you want to move out into an enabling level, that means I want to start managing teams, right? Managing a team of software engineers. So what are the skills I need to have to be able to manage those teams? So that's also clearly laid out in this framework. And then if I want to move and progress and be the leader of a particular client group, for example, particular project, then how can I influence and work with the various parties in the organization? So that's also spelled out. So when someone wants to build their career path, for example, the skills framework actually provides very detailed behaviors, very detailed knowledge levels around autonomy, around skills, around business needs that allows me to then check, and I can actually refer to the skills framework and say, okay, these are the things I'm able to do. I'm here now. These are the things I would like to do. And I think that is going to be my next part. So, okay. So that then becomes my focus for my career development. And then you have conversations with your line manager and say, okay, I would like to move, from a solution architect to leading a team of solution architects. So I will need to pick up this skill set. Can you allow me and give me the room and coach me to be able to deliver and develop the skill sets, right? So it then forms part of my career development plan. And then, I go and do my self-learning. I work with existing platforms and providers. So in Techcombank, for example, we introduce Pluralsight as the go-to platform and provider for skills assessments. So I can pick up my learning part by skills or by my role. And then it throws up, for example, a whole list of knowledge areas and skill areas that I need to know. I can take assessments, and then it throws out a proficiency level. It gives me an analysis of, for example, where I am strong in, where are the gaps that I need to close, and then I take on the relevant courses as well. So the platform, the learning platform helps me with a self-assessment in addition to feedback I may get from the team and from my manager. So you have the skills framework that gives you guidance. You have various online platforms that allows you to assess your proficiency. You have on-the-job training exposure with your teams. You have coaching from your line managers to help guide and steer your thought process and your career plans. And then you bring it together. And then as you move on to the next level, you go through the same process, right? So, so this is how the various frameworks, the various role architecture, platforms for learning, and leadership and employee value proposition from the organization helps me to build my career path.
So how do we know how many levels do we need to have? Should we have like 7 levels? Should we have 3 levels? And imagine I'm an organization that I have never done EVP before. So what are the number of levels that do you think I should have?
So what SFIA has recommended is the full set of 7 levels from a execution or say a fresh grad who comes in and is starting off the career to be able to follow, work with supervision, and all the way up to someone who needs to drive strategy for the organization, right? So most of the time when you have someone, a founder who sets up a business, he's at your strategy level, at your business planning level, setting the vision and mission of the organization. Then you need to ask yourself, okay, so I need doers, I need builders, I need shapers, I need managers, right? So you would initially have a few of those, especially to once you know what is the product that you want to develop, then you say, okay, so I need builders, I need architects, I need my security personnel. So as your business model evolve and as you get ready to start moving on to the next phase of your product, or if you have that vision upfront, then it will give you an idea, okay, I need a combination of these skill set. So let me start off with the skill set. So in setting up a business, for example, you would start off maybe 3 to 5 levels. And then as you scale up, then you go on and you build up the other levels. So there's no right or wrong to how many levels you plan to set for yourself. It is more around how flat you want your organization structure to be or how complex you want it. As you start off, a lot of tech people, a lot of millennials who want direct access to the leaders, to the founders, to the creators of the business leaders. So the lesser levels you have, the better. Typically 3 to 5 is very common for a tech setup. And then of course, you got to ask questions around how fast am I willing to allow people to grow? Do I want to have too many levels or have fewer levels for them? So with the talent that we have today, they are looking for flatter organizations. They're looking for growth. They are looking for opportunity to connect with top leadership and not have too many hierarchies. So these are the considerations to take into account when you want to decide how many levels of responsibilities and authority that you would like to introduce. But as you start off, I think no more than 3 to 5 levels is recommended.
And how do I integrate this framework into my recruitment?
Okay, so most of the recruiters are at this point in time, in my experience, would like to have conversations around, especially technical functional competency conversations and assessments. So not all organizations invest in assessment tools to be able to hire, select the best fit and the most qualified candidate. So what this framework does actually gives you a list of focus areas, right? So for example, let's say I want to hire someone at an advisory level for the team. So then I will look at all of the expectations and responsibilities at level 5, for example. And then I have conversations with the candidate. And I structure my interviews around competencies, right? So it's competency-based interviewing. And of course, it will always be, supported with a tech expert who is able to draft the job description for the role and be able to ask very specific questions. And then you get into a conversation where you can ask the candidate, okay, so tell me, how would you architect this situation? Or I need to build this product. How would we get onto this journey of building this product? So with the SFIA framework, it actually guides you to a set of questions that you can ask during the interview as well. So very competency-based questions.
But how about my existing employees? How do I actually, make them adapt to this model so that I can have one consistent model for my new employees and existing employees?
Sure. I think, most employees who want to exit, sometimes either they are looking for something that the existing organization is not able to provide, or they are looking for guidance onto their next phase in their career journeys as well. So these reference allows you to have conversations around competency, around readiness, around setting apart for the candidate. So for example, let's say a candidate is very keen to move into the management stream in the organization, and they find that they are not in a position or there's no opportunity in the organization as yet. So what you would want to do as the line manager and to keep this candidate with you and this employee with you is to then say, hey, okay, we would like to get to this level of management. I would like to give you the opportunity, for example, to demonstrate this. Why don't we work together and see if you are up to taking up this challenge? And if it works for us, it's good. If it's not work, if it doesn't quite stack up, then I'm happy to support you in your next aspiration, either within or outside of the organization. So it helps both the managers and the employee to have conversations around capabilities, around knowledge, around aspirations, that is very, very specific to tangible competencies, tangible results. And so, things are not so fluff. And this is especially true with a lot of tech employees, right? They want very specific, spot-on feedback, coaching that is focused around skills, around opportunities to apply, around opportunities to influence, and to drive the strategy.
So let's say I'm implementing this in my company, and how do I know I'm doing the right thing? Is there any feedback or measurement that I can apply to see if I'm implementing it correctly or not?
So the SFIA framework goes through very diligent and very detailed improvisions. For example, the tech world, it's always, it's always being influenced by new developments, new technologies, new focus areas, and the SFI framework is actually, being upgraded to meet the requirements of this field of information age and digital transformation. Come September, there will be a new version of this, and it's been tried and tested. So I think if you follow this framework very carefully, I mean, I've not seen any other framework that is as detailed as this one to guide individuals and organizations, SMEs, training specialists, learning and development specialists, talent acquisition, recruiters as well. All of them will find benefit in using this framework, and the framework is very detailed, so it is very foolproof, and it gives you very spot on, very spot on guidance with very specific references around responsibilities, around competencies, around skill set, around pitfalls, and so I would recommend that we use this framework because I've not come across until today a more detailed version and a more upgraded and fit for purpose version.
Paramila, we are almost getting to the end of the session, but as my last question, let's say we are executing this, or you have been executing SFIA or similar methodologies in tech or non-tech or others. What are the things that, for example, someone like a CTO or a CEO need to do or need to commit to make sure that this transformation of such kind of EVP will be successful in an organization?
Sure. So, the structure of the organization must be supported. The processes must be refined to make sure that it allows the structure to take place. There must be significant budget investment, not only on your people, but on the learning needs to support investments in various platforms, or at least a personal learning budget, space, time, learning days for employees to also, adopt this architecture as well as their skills. And of course, on the leadership to be able to check in, coach employees, check in and make sure that projects are suitably assigned to candidates. So there must be a good match between the product, the service, the project that the employee is being assigned to. There's hinting now with agile development where you rotate people to work on different projects based on their capabilities or their skill sets. So they tend to work in a more cross-functional product development team, and they learn from one another and they support one another as well. So structure needs to be in place, processes needs to be simplified to allow the structure to work and for people to collaborate. Budgets must be in place to invest in people, and of course, technology. No IT personnel or tech personnel can, drive the organization without having the right technologies, infrastructure, tools, and equipment to work. And now with the concept of hybrid of work, not setting boundaries and allowing them to chart their own workspace to be able to decide how and where they will be able to contribute to the organization. So yes, structure, process, people, technology, bring them all together. So that will be the role and the responsibilities of a CTO or a CFO as they build their employee value proposition.
So, another question that is coming from the chat is there any way to assess if a candidate fits in the organization culture?
Sure. So I think, assessing employees comes in various ways. One is, of course, the observation, right? Day-to-day observation, contributions of the employee to the deliverables of the organization. Feedback from project team members. And of course, you can do a hardcore skills assessment, knowledge assessment. There are various schools of thought. Someone who is, has a relevant qualification may not necessarily perform as well. There are people without qualifications, but they're a lot more street smart, they're a lot more product, they're a lot more savvy with technology, and they can create. So it's very important to understand who your people are, what drives them, what irks them, what challenges them. And we tend to ignore that aspect of our people, right? We tend to use one size fits all as opposed to actually knowing what drives our employees, how they learn, how they work best, and then giving them that space. So that's the formula to making sure that they are not only fit for the role, but also fit for the organization and can help you drive the organization forward.
All right. Don't want to take much of your time anymore. So Premila, if somebody start doing this thing and have questions and wants to reach out to you, what is the best way for them to reach out to you and ask advice and questions from you directly?
Sure, I'm happy to share what were the challenges and the pitfalls and guide them into applying or adopting this framework to build the various roles. There's a lot of questioning that I would like to ask them to help them build this correctly from start. So my email address, premilasivam@gmail.com, and my mobile number plus 84934658959. You can reach me on these two platforms, and I'm more than happy to guide whoever is in need of implementing this framework and building capabilities for the organization.
Thank you so much, Premila. I appreciate again getting online and sharing your knowledge with us. Thank you so much. Is there anything else you want to say?
For this opportunity to share, and I wish everyone success in all efforts to build and grow their business. Thank you.
Thanks again. I learned a lot while I work with you. Thank you so much. And thanks a lot for coming on this talk today too. Be safe.
Thank you, Chris.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.